The Sun is Also a Star follows two strangers in New York as they try and fall in love with each other, all within 24 hours.
What's with the notebooks?
Poems.
Poems. What are they about? Wait, let me guess. Love.
Not all of them.
I don't believe in love.
So no magic, no fate, no meant to be. What if I told you I could get you to fall in love with me? Just give me a day.
An hour.
Here to tell us more about one of the most anticipated movies are the co-stars of the movie, Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, so I actually got to see the movie earlier this week, and it's a beautiful story. The chemistry between the two of you is palpable in that theater. So what was your first meeting like? Was the chemistry there right away?
Yeah, well, we have to actually do a thing called a chemistry read, which is really funny. And it was our first time meeting. Yeah. And it was just one of those moments where we had to do one of the lightest scenes in the movie, and then we had to do one of the most serious scenes in a matter of like a 20-minute span of time.
And then we shared a Pop-Tart.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So the chemistry was good enough for you to share a Pop-Tart. That's pretty good.
Yara does not share Pop-Tarts
I don't
with
share my
anyone.
dessert.
Okay, so that was a sign that things were good.
I share almost everything except dessert.
Fair enough. I'm with you on that one. There are a lot of sweet moments in the movie, a lot of really funny moments too, but it does explore a lot of really hard realities as well. It explores deportation, cultural identity. So what was it like navigating that on screen?
Well, I think the goal was to never lose the seriousness of those storylines, and even though this is like a love story at the center of it, never making light of what's actually happening in both of our families' lives. And that was something that we explored when we were in rehearsals and then when we were shooting, just about like what would that story arc be for both of us as we're on our journey together, but having to remember that my character is going through a very traumatic time in her life.
What about for you, Charles?
It was, you know, we had a lot to draw from our personal lives. We're both first generation, Yara on her father's side, me on my mother's side. And just, you know, humanizing a lot of the themes and topics in this film, when at the same time keeping the integrity of the love and the authenticity and the story.
You really could feel that. It did feel like those experiences were, I know you're actors, but it did feel very authentic. Yara, you're no stranger to these themes of representation, of identity. I mean, Michelle Obama wrote you a letter of recommendation. Oprah said you'll be president one day. So where do you see yourself in your life outside of acting, you know, in the next few years?
President.
I always say I want to be policy adjacent. I don't exactly know what that means, but I absolutely love what I get to do on screen, and I love just the creative process. And so I can't wait to continue my work probably in production and then in terms of like a think tank space. You know, I think being a young Black and Iranian girl with the last name Shahidi, I am a part of a large global community that I take such pride in. And I'm grateful for that coming up because it means that I've been raised with a deep care for everyone else. And it's been nice that either through media and what we're doing or through policy that there's ways to reinstate that care, because I think seeing somebody on screen and actually going to watch them on screen is a matter of investing in that person.
Absolutely. It's very inspiring to see you using your platform in different ways. Charles, you've mentioned earlier sort of how you've drawn on your personal experiences in this role. Tell us a little bit more about how your family kind of influenced how you took on this character.
Well, you know, when it comes to cultural identity, you know, my father's American, he's from the US, and he met my mother when he was stationed in Korea. And I had to go through the process. My mother, she moved to the US when she was 26 and became a US citizen when I was 12 years old. And so being a part of that process and seeing, you know, the process and the journey, let alone knowing the personal aspect of who my mother is and, you know, the idea of America was very unique.
So many people are so excited for this movie. What do you want audiences to leave with when they walk out of the theater?
I feel like there's so many things you can take away from it. Okay, is there one thing in particular?
I mean, if you, you know, no matter if you're jaded or not, if you've ever been in love, if you've never been in love or you experience any sort of heartbreak, or this is something that you should see because it installs hope. And there's faith and destiny and fate, and it's just a very true, authentic romance.
I like that. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think honestly the feeling of hope and love extends from the romantic to the platonic and the familial, which is all explored. And I think at the center of it, like you said, it's just this deep love and care for one another, which is especially necessary when we're talking about immigration and celebration of our cultural identities.
Hope and love, I love it. We wish you both all the best. Thank you for coming in today. The Sun is also a Star hits theaters on May 17th.